till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it is time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say greetings to the world, and more importantly, I should say good night and a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and a very pleasant night to the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian, Nevisian, and Caribbean diaspora, I say greetings, like I said before, because you are on the World Wide Web and you are all over the globe. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I can also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And we do have first-timers normally, as I thank those who continue to share the link. Whenever you do, we have first-timers. And for the first-timers in particular, may I inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On this program, we provide that forum to express all these issues of national, regional, and international interests freely. And on this program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse by alerting our people, or alerting people generally, to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburn, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And my Straight Talk family, in particular the first-timers, may I also inform you that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. To make it more interesting, we do nothing. There's no omission or exaggeration. Because Straight Talk is not about sensationalism, not at all. It's all about creating excitement, especially if that will have to come at the expense of accuracy. Because we lean on the facts, as it is my bounden duty to present what I always call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, accountability, wherever you are on this globe, in St. Kitts and Nevis, wherever you are. Because this program joins us together with people across the Federation. We are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. And some we know very well, some we have met, some we have never ever met physically, some we've met spiritually. But we are all a different set of people. So we entertain a different set of views. I call it, we promote a diversity in views, or we promote diverse views, if that's the correct term. So some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's fine. But please do not sadden me and ever become disagreeable. Let's, as always, thank Almighty God nonetheless for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing His praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks one more time for those who share the link and bring us first-timers. Please continue to do so. And for the first-timers in particular, may I inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. There's some of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. You don't want to be heard, and that's understandable, because your voice is heard here on Straight Talk, and depends on what you say, you're exposed to a vindictive bunch of leaders. So we give you access via our email platform. Some of you like to use that platform to swing all sorts of nonsense. And when you do, it's very simple just to ignore your messages. Well, my Straight Talk family, welcome again. And a special welcome to our Straight Talk Junior Brigade. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Jasmine, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, my grandson Neymar, Soraya, and Elizabeth. And of course, we always hail that special lady in St. Louis, my Straight Talk family. We normally move to our observations in review. That's the point when we highlight current issues, we do some reflection, we ask some questions. What we have learned as a people is very important because it's a learning process. And I'll move right into my observations for tonight. And my very first observation, I bring you information from China. And President Donald Trump, we know, is in China and keeping that long-standing relationship between China and the U.S., which we understand dates back to the 18th century, 1784 to be exact. And here's an excerpt of what the president had to say at the dinner last night.
We had extremely positive and productive conversations and meetings today with the Chinese delegation earlier. And this evening is another cherished opportunity to discuss among friends some of the things that we discussed today, all good for the United States and for China. And it was a great honor to be with you. The relationship between the American and Chinese people goes all the way back to America's founding. The first American consul to China, Samuel Shaw, arrived on the first American trading ship to reach these shores in 1784. The Chinese merchants had a name for the Americans. They called their visions the New People. 2.5 centuries later, that first connection has grown into one of the most consequential relationships in world history.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, that's remarks coming from President Donald Trump at the banquet, I think it's called a state banquet there in China last evening. And that trip, or his visit continues, I should say. Our second observation, we come to the Bahamas. And my Straight Talk family, Philip Davis, we know by now, has been re-elected for a second consecutive term, something that has not happened in the Bahamas for almost 30 years or perhaps more. And here's an excerpt of what Philip Davis had to say about, or just after learning of his victory.
Bahamian Prime Minister Philip Davis and his ruling Progressive Liberal Party were re-elected on Tuesday, making him the first leader to be elected to a second consecutive term in nearly 30 years.
I have some news. I don't know if you all have heard it, but the country has spoken. The Bahamian people have made their choice. Today, the Bahamian people chose progress.
Yes, the Bahamian people chose progress. According to Prime Minister Davis, Philip Davis, in his landslide victory of 33 seats to 8 to the opposition. And our third observation, my Straight Talk family, relates to my Dean Cain interview, which would be aired this coming Friday. Recall I told you about this.
How are you, sir?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Very wonderful. You're peaceful. I love that. I wish I could be peaceful all the time.
At peace with your God?
Yeah, I'm at peace with my God.
At peace with yourself?
Sometimes.
And at peace with the world?
I'll buy that in a heartbeat. I like that.
Well, my Straight Talk family, I can inform you that the Dean Cain interview in its entirety would be aired on Friday at 2 p.m. at www.proudsoundsofamerica.com. Again, let me get that right for you. www. Proud American Studios. What am I saying? I keep getting this thing wrong. Let me get this right for you. I ought to be spanked. www.proudamericanstudio or studios. www.proudamericanstudios. That's one word, my Street Talk family. It will also be aired on X as well. So at 2 p.m., that interview, I can assure you that it's a very interesting interview with Dean Cain, the host of podcast The Homeland. Dean Cain is hosting the Homeland for Proud American Studios, and your humble servant will host the podcast for the Western Hemisphere. And those are my observations in review for tonight. And I move right into my thesis for tonight. And just again to inform you that that first interview, official interview I did with Dean Cain, host of the podcast The Homeland, would be aired on Proud American Studios. That's www.proudamericanstudios.com. And Proud American Studios is one word. proudamericanstudios.com. And again, my Straight Talk family, it would be also aired on X. My thesis I've titled tonight, In Search of the Unvarnished Truth. Again, I've titled my thesis tonight, In Search of the Unvarnished Truth. And I must hasten to say tonight that I thank all those who continue to extend good wishes to your humble servant, and I can assure you that I will represent well. There are those who have showed their opposition to the assignment that have taken up with Proud American Studios. And that's fine, because as I said, we live in a world of different people, and people will have their different views. Your views are not absolute, neither are mine. And I'm joining Proud American Studios. And as I stated earlier, and just to remind you, Straight Talk will still continue. I want to, however, state here tonight that I have received some serious threats. And as I said, I underline serious threats, but that won't deter me. But I have, in fact, passed those threats on to the relevant authorities in the U.S. But hear this. Ian Patches Liebert, as I said before, will never be a horse or a mule, lest my mouth will be held with bit and bridle. and they will come near me. So I'll fear not what man can do unto me. Because man fighting every day would swallow you up. But God is the absolute judge. And he is the one that sets up and the one that puts down. But hear this, I'm not going to back. Because I strongly believe that in every democracy, transparency and accountability, they are not optional virtues. They are obligations owed to the people. And I will speak about transparency. I will speak about accountability. I'll speak about good governance, wherever we are. But when information is withheld, when questions go unanswered, and when those with responsibility refuse to provide clarity, suspicion replaces confidence. Citizens begin to wonder whether truth itself has become inconvenient. Today, many are no longer simply debating policies or personalities. They are searching for honesty in public life. They are asking legitimate questions about decisions made behind closed doors, about the management of public resources, and about whether accountability applies equally to everyone, regardless of status or political affiliation. The issue is not merely political. However, it is moral. A government, institution, or leadership that resists transparency risk weakening public trust and undermining confidence in the very systems meant to protect democracy and fairness. Silence can no longer substitute for answers, and public relations cannot replace truth. In search of the unvarnished truth, therefore, is not just a caption. It is a reflection of the growing sentiment among ordinary people who believe they deserve openness, integrity, and accountability from those who serve them. The truth may sometimes be uncomfortable, I admit. But history has shown that attempts to conceal the truth only deepen public skepticism. At the end of the day, truth does not fear scrutiny. Only deception does. And I want to say something here from the onset. I recall a time when I harshly criticized Philippe Martinez because I thought that Martinez was manipulated by Mark Brantley. I focused heavily on his past transgression, only to find out it dated back some 35 years ago, when he was a young man at 21. I fell for the propaganda, but now I know the truth. As Philippe Martinez spoke with me, and I suddenly recognized that the present and the future are more important than this man's past. So I reconciled within my own mind that tomorrow is the future, yesterday is the past, and today is the present. And talking about the immediate present, as I said, you know that I have joined the Proud American Studios. And some people are running scared. Running scared because of the truth to which I am exposed. And my Straight Dog family, in the last 48 hours, I received a serious threat on my life. But I'm not afraid. I have sent the information I repeat to the U.S. authorities, who have ensured me that I am well protected. So these cowards must understand that the truth is on the way. Very important people contacted me and cited the names of a few persons who were interrogated about the CBI at their point of entry in the United States. Yes, quite a few persons from St. Kitts and Nevis were stopped at the border and questioned. I know their names. So I could have corroborated the facts and the names that this very important person who contacted me yesterday. But that is all I can say. But let me repeat. Tomorrow is the future, yesterday the past, and today is the present. So I took the deliberate decision to fear not tomorrow, because I lived yesterday and I love today. I therefore decided to shape a legacy for my own children, also my children's children, and the generations yet unborn. What kind of legacy must I leave for them? This was a recurring question on my mind. Two of these children are living in the United States. Yet when exposed to the truth, I had either overlooked or misunderstood. And I considered something fundamental. The present and the future matter more than yesterday. I reconciled with myself that tomorrow represents hope. Yesterday represents lessons. And today is the opportunity to shape our destiny, shape our future. Coming from the tragedy of slavery through colonialism into political independence, we now find ourselves confronting what many increasingly describe as recolonization by our own people. Our own people whose foreparents came here in shackles. And that painful contradiction lingers heavily on the conscience of many Caribbean citizens. Our ancestors were taken from Africa in chains, transported across oceans in slave ships, sold to plantation owners, and brutalized in the fields while enriching an elite planter class. Yet, in this 21st century, many now observe that a modern vision of that same plantocracy still exists. All the faces and titles have changed. Today, within the region, and here in St. Kitts and Nevis, they are called governors general, presidents, prime ministers, political elites, and economic gatekeepers. They are the modern planter class, but they have moved out of the fields. They have diversified our economy into tourism, some say, but have made our people servants of those who come to enjoy our sun, our sand, and our sea. The fields have disappeared, but the structures of control remain. The economy has diversified into tourism, finance, and citizenship by investment sales, or as we say, the sale of our passports. While many of our people have been reduced to servants in their own homeland, catering to foreign wealth while struggling for economic dignity themselves. And yet, many of us became trapped in what scholars call presentism, consumed by the endless 24/7 social media cycle. That social media news cycle, I should say, where headlines replace analysis and propaganda replace understanding, and in particular in this region, the Marxist propaganda. But to truly understand the modern world order, we must look beyond personalities and headlines and examine the deeper structures of power, which are security, finance, production, and knowledge. We talk a lot about China, and we just earlier introduced you to comments made by the President Trump, who is currently in China. And China's rise is often celebrated as the emergence of a new global superpower, challenging American dominance. Indeed, made in China labels dominate shelves across the world, from cheap household products to smartphones, solar panels, advanced technology. And one friend of mine who was in China and returned on Saturday, he told me all he saw in this area were electric vehicles, EVs. And China has rapidly become the workshop of the modern global economy. But beneath the surface lies a more complicated reality. China's industrial rise has also produced enormous environmental consequences. They emit more carbon dioxide than the combined members of the OECD, while simultaneously burning more than half the world's coal. In 2023, China expanded coal power construction at staggering levels, despite presenting itself as a global leader in green technology. So on the darker side, China emits more carbon dioxide, CO2, than the combined members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, I just mentioned. But while China dominates the production and consumption of green technology, it also burns more than half of the world's coal. And in 2023, it started building 400% more coal power capacity than in 2019, and 1,900% more than the rest of the world. Someone called our program last Monday, it was just Monday, and spoke about treasury bills. But there's a misperception of US debt owed to China in the form of treasury bills. But we must first understand the role of the US dollar in global transactions. China stockpiles US dollars and invests them in US treasury bills. And China does that on its own volition because it wants to export a vast array of goods and services, most of which are priced in US dollars. That's the reason. So China's vast holdings of US treasury bills are not acts of charity or leverage alone. They are deeply connected to the dominance of the US dollar in global trade. Since the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, and especially after President Nixon detached the dollar from gold in 1971, the United States cemented a global financial architecture that continues to sustain American economic power through the petrodollar system and international finance institutions like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Where China seems to have gained most ground is in the sphere of global production. It continues rapidly increasing in international competitiveness. China, of course, has a population more than quadruple that of the United States. But the latter's wealth means that the U.S. dominates in food, beverages, tobacco, and retail. But what about the security structure? Don't lose sight of these facts. U.S. military power is dominant. There is no other nation that has ever had so many military assets around the planet. Many are classified and involve only a CIA or NSA, National Security Agency, listing posts in at least 80 countries. Even at its peak, the British Empire had bases in just around 35 countries or colonies. With NATO, the US has the most expansive alliance system in the world. The most expansive alliance system the world has ever seen. In addition to key NATO allies or proxies such as Australia, Israel, Japan, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Ukraine. They all purchase US weapons systems and share intelligence and security resources. But no nation in human history has projected military power like the United States, with hundreds of military installations across at least 80 countries, tens of thousands of troops stationed permanently across Eurasia and the Middle East, and a vast alliance network to NATO, and strategic partners such as Japan, Israel, South Korea, Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Ukraine, I mentioned earlier. And the US remains the dominant military power on earth. So China, despite its economic growth, offers no immediate counterweight to that global military reach. And Xi Jinping knows that. But this matters for us in the Caribbean, because small states often become pawns within larger geopolitical struggles. While global powers compete for influence through finance, trade, security, and diplomacy, our governments continue making decisions behind closed doors without sufficient transparency or public consultation. We in the Caribbean don't know how many passports, for example, have been sold and to what nationalities. Chinese, Iranians, Iraqis. And my straight dog family, after selling tens of thousands of passports in St. Kitts Nevis, they have now sold even more passports in St. Lucia. These Chinese, they have sold tens of thousands of passports here in St. Kitts Nevis. Now they have sold even more in St. Lucia. St. Kitts and Nevis, CBI, we ask, how many passports sold to the Chinese in particular and all the Iranians? The US knows everything from the Ramada Inn to the prison project. Was the former head of the St. Kitts CIU Lescan protected? That's the question I ask. The current executive of the CIU, Calvin St. Just, may be also under scrutiny as well, my straight dog family. St. Just has failed to release the number of shares that were allocated to the Barnsley High School, the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport expansion, the Creative Arts Center, and he made a very strange comment just about over a week ago. This comment, my straight dog family.
I extend a heartfelt appreciation that the St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship unit is a partner in providing the necessary funding for this inaugural project. It falls under what we consider as a public benefit option. And truly, as you look across this area in terms of what's being done, this truly is the symbolic process of what we call public benefit option, because it will benefit the entire public, not for today, not for tomorrow, but the future generations. And I'm very pleased, as I said, to have secured all the necessary funding to ensure that this project gets the full completion that it deserves.
But my sweet family, on the public benefit option, I made mention of this before. The investor is expected to outlay its own capital. The government will provide the land. And when that construction is completed, then the asset is handed over to the government. That was started with Lescan. And St. Just, we wonder where he's going. Because $27 million has already gone to that investor. And now, he comes with this strange arrangement. But if Lescan falls, the question is, who else will fall with Lescan? I repeat that. If Lescan falls, the question remains, who else will fall with Lescan? But having joined Proud American Studios, I became privy to data from high-level officials related to money laundering, corruption, narco-trafficking, and fraud. There are things, many things I know, but I just cannot say. But let me say here, without fear of contradiction, I was extremely happy to meet Philippe Martinez for the first time in Washington. Philippe Martinez was victim of a fake AI recorded video. But I found out that he does not respond to this sort of propaganda. I also found out that he sits at the table with the highest authorities of the US government. And I was there with him as well. And while in Washington, D.C., Philippe Martinez told me this, and I quote, and I hope he does not get offended. He said to me, Patches, I personally will never make a statement or speak about the CBI investigation anymore. I have been silent for 1 year and continue to do so. When I spoke and exposed Lescan and Caribbean Galaxy, I was vilified for being the whistleblower, and a cover-up took place with massive propaganda to hide the truth. Now it's in the hands of the highest authorities in the US government, and I will await its outcome with the utmost confidence. And those are the words of Philippe Martinez. And my Sweet Talk family, I submit. Protecting Lescan and the Chinese, from what I have seen, was the biggest historical mistake that our Caribbean governments with an S, the biggest historical mistake they have made, including the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. I also submit the people denied information cannot meaningfully participate in democracy. Accountability cannot exist where secrecy prevails, and sovereignty becomes meaningless when citizens no longer understand who truly controls their national resources and economic future. I have therefore joined Proud American Studios to continue my efforts to expose the spread of narco-terrorism, Iranian money laundering in the local Caribbean banking system, including here in St. Kitts and Nevis, in particular Nevis, and geopolitical manipulation through the spread of Marxist propaganda in the Western Hemisphere. My new program on Proud American Studios is called the Western Hemisphere. Let me say that one more time. And Proud American Studios, of which I am a team member, has already attracted 12 million viewers. I repeat that. Proud American Studios, of which I'm a team member, has already attracted 12 million views, I should say, per week.
Dean Cain, welcome back and congratulations. Your podcast, we've talked about the homeland, over 12 million views last week. People are going on YouTube and everywhere else. Welcome. Congratulations.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. It's been wonderful. We had some great people on, including the Attorney General. We had on Sebastian Gorka. Lee Zeldin was brilliant. It was just so much fun. It was wonderful to see all those eyeballs on there. But to go back to shut your pie hole, I mean, what is every idea of Kamala Harris is bad. Yes. So bad that she has this no bad idea brainstorm so she can put her ideas out there. They're awful. They're terrible. She's saying, she basically is saying that Democrats, we can't win on ideas. So let's change the rules. Yeah. She's a Marxist, and Marxism is a cancer. Here's a great bad idea. How about this? We flood the country full of millions of illegals, give them free housing, healthcare, food, phones, money, and you know what? Then maybe they'll vote Democrat.
And that's Dean Cain, my Straight Talk family, the host of The Homeland. And the team includes my Straight Talk family, the team behind Proud American Studios include some very important people. Former officers of the Homeland Security, the CIA, FBI agents, and former U.S. military officers, my Straight Dog family. I rub shoulders with some important people. And the head, President Michael Kozielniak, special investigator with Homeland Security, and others, my Straight Dog family, including your humble servant. And I will host the Western Hemisphere. But my mission, for those who continue to ask, my mission is not to provide any opinions or comments on the U.S. political system. My mission is to debunk the Marxist propaganda and spread the truth about narco-terrorism and money laundering in the Western Hemisphere associated with the threats posed by China, Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. I repeat that. Spread the truth about narco-terrorism, money laundering in the Western Hemisphere that are associated with the threats posed by China, Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. And these Iran-supported terrorist groups, Hamas and Hezbollah, had offshore accounts in Nevis. There were little country Nevis, my straight dog family. So we are not exempt. And the truth, this truth may sometimes seem uncomfortable, my straight dog family. It may expose hypocrisy, corruption, incompetence, or dangerous compromises. But the truth has never been an enemy of democracy. Only deception fears scrutiny. And so the search continues. Shortly, I also intend to join Dean Cain and Philippe Martinez on a trip to Jerusalem to meet high-ranking officials in order to expose the Islamist, Marxist propaganda as well. The search for integrity over propaganda, the search for courage over convenience, the search for leaders who serve people rather than power. Nations can not progress where secrecy replaces transparency and where loyalty to power outweighs loyalty to the people. The future of our society depends not on political slogans or carefully crafted narratives, but on the courage to confront uncomfortable realities with honesty and accountability. And it starts here, my straight dog family, right here at home and throughout the Caribbean. Because our citizenship by investment program, how many nationals from China and Iran have our passports? What if they come to St. Kitts and Nevis tomorrow? What if they come to the Caribbean tomorrow? These are real questions. The answers and the truth may be delayed, distorted, or resisted, but it can never be permanently buried. History, my straight dog family, will ultimately vindicate those who dare to question, to speak, and to stand in defense of integrity. And that's what I am doing. As a member of the proud American Studios, as I said, has already attracted 12 million views each week and more. But I dare to stand in defense of integrity. For in the end, truth does not fear scrutiny. Only deception does. We in the Caribbean don't know how many passports, I must repeat that, my straight dog family. We don't know how many passports have been sold and to which nationalities. But I can tell you, the U.S. knows. They know. The United States authorities, they know. The evidence, according to the most reliable sources, point to the vast majority in the tens of thousands who come from China. And I have already made a choice between the US and China. It was very easy for me, a very easy one. Hybrid or not, I will never live under a communist government. The United States of America is my choice. So my straight dog family, all these governments in the Caribbean, they conceal the numbers of our passports and the nationalities. But the relevant agencies in the US, they know. They know. And reliable sources point to the vast majority, in the tens of thousands, come out of China. Again, I have made a choice. I'm not afraid to say, between the US and China. It was a very easy one for me. Hybrid communism or not, I will not live under a communist government. I will use every breath I have to debunk the Marxist propaganda in the Western Hemisphere. The USA is my choice. And in the final analysis, I'm always in search of the unvarnished truth. And I say so respectfully, with no offense to you, my viewers. I'm in search of the unvarnished truth. And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and entertain your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers, like I said, are on your monitors, on your screens. If you are one who likes the cloak of anonymity, the email platform is also available to you. And my Straight Talk family, I always like to implore our callers, before I open the lines momentarily, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let's ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, let's strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. At 9 o'clock on the dot, we go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liebert.
Good night, my dear. How art thou?
I am great. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, because God is with you. The quotation, the search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you.
Truth takes you where the evidence leads you. The search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you.
Yeah, the search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you.
Okay. That's it?
Even if at first you don't want to go there.
If at first you don't want to go there. Okay.
I repeat, the search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you, even if at first you don't want to go there. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much for your quotation from my quotationist. The search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you, even at first you don't want to go there. Takes you where the evidence leads you. Evidence leads you. Thank you very much, my quotationist from across the Narrows. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Thank you. Good night, Brother Patches.
Good night, my brother.
Nice to hear you again.
Nice to hear you as well.
I need to make a case.
A case?
Here are many have said you are a snitch, and etc., and etc. And you were corrupted, so to speak. But let me make it clear. The record of Ian Patches during his tenure, he was a given man. He completed 99, if not 100%, of the projects or the portfolios he had. Very well done. He has given half of his salary back to the people or wherever it ended up. How could that man and how could anyone, being out of their honest mind, to call you a corrupt? Sometimes a man have to go down in the mud to see what's going on down there. And there's going to be a time when enough is enough. To those people who are making threats, as I heard you mention, think twice. Hands off patches, because the eagles are watching. Be careful and cherish the truth. I rather the U.S. than any other nation on this planet Earth. The U.S. and us are related. We are from the Western Hemisphere. And we have to respect that. This is nothing of being any puppets or anything. It is the right thing to do. And as the Trinidad Prime Minister said, the hypocrisy that has been peddled, where would you prefer to go? Isn't it America? Isn't it Miami? Isn't it New York? Would you go to Russia or would you go to China? So, Pamela, I applaud you for your job well done. And let the church come to me too. I have no fear. I have no fear. Have no fear, Patches. I'm with you 110% if it should be. Tell the unvarnished truth. And I hope all these people, all these government leaders who were trusted, go behind bars for the crime they commit and head into treason. Thank you. I will come again. I'll leave it to others. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Just to say, though, that each of us, every single one of us, the good book says, must appear before the judgment seat of Christ. And we can't take no witnesses. No, we can't take no witnesses. You alone and Christ. And we may be recompensed for the things that we have done. A Straight Dog family. I'll take the emails as well so that I can get them out. Good evening, Patches. When you made the announcement on April 30th, I thought you were done with Straight Talk completely. Oh no. Or was it mainly to inform the listeners and viewers that you were finished with running for elections again? I was of the view that the bombshell revelation was the end of Straight Talk. Not at all, my family. There's no end to Straight Talk. What I said, I believe, was pellucid, was clear, that I will not contest elections in St. Kitts. That's exactly what I said. I would not take part in elective politics in St. Kitts. That's what I said. But Straight Talk will continue. I also said that I'll be doing an assignment in Washington, a monthly assignment that is, that would take me to Washington, and perhaps 1 week in each month, or perhaps more. But in the first instance, 1 week while I'm in Washington, there would be no Straight Talk. So if we use that yardstick, then there are 3 weeks of Straight Talk. Straight Talk will be here because I love my people and I love to bring the information to you. So you need not worry about Straight Talk. As I said, and I perhaps I heard when I said the company is actually the offshore company is used by the Iranian is Islamic leader, as a matter of fact, as reported by the Financial Times, if my memory serves me well. So I'll be, as I said, going to Washington, but I will still host Straight Talk as long as my Straight Talk family says it's okay. But my Straight Talk family, I also intend to join Dean Kane and Philippe Martinez sometime shortly on a trip to Jerusalem, and we'll meet high-ranking officials in order to expose the Islamist, Marxist propaganda. So the search for integrity over propaganda continues, and it's far and wide. My focus, like I said, will be on the Western Hemisphere, but I'll also join my Straight Talk family. I'll also join the team that's going to Jerusalem. And when we get there, my Straight Talk family, when we get there, sometime shortly, we will also be apprised, be informed, my Straight Talk family, the Israeli Mossad and the CIA knows all the money launderers or money laundering activities coming out of Venezuela. So that's important as well for us. And, I did in fact say that I am going to Jerusalem to with Dean Kane and Philip interview the highest people in Israel. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi, Patrice. Good night.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm peaceful. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm glad you made the announcement again tonight, because I heard on a talk show the other day. He left and he didn't even tell the viewers nothing. And I heard you say that when you're not in Washington, you will be having Straight Talk.
Yes, I did.
But they had it saying that he left and he didn't even say nothing to the viewers. So I'm glad you repeat yourself again tonight and explain it that people could hear. That's why, they just want to think that that's not true.
They're just malicious, really, that's all.
Yeah, they want to think that that's true. And next, again, I mean, I really miss you for a few days, because I had some things to talk about, but I think I'm going to pass it up tonight.
Okay. Well, you're free. It's Straight Talk is you, Straight Talk is a Straight Talk family, so feel free,
Yeah, because what happened that it has a lot of people coming in, say independent runners, say they want to run for office, government office. Okay. But I don't think that is right, because some of them not living there. Okay. And if you're not living there, when you come out to say you start to campaign, what are you going to tell the people them? What are you going to tell them you campaign against the government that's in office? You're not on the ground, you're not feeling it, you're only hearing. You have to feel it and know it. And that's why Mr. Butcher had said that when you want to vote, you also don't want to vote. You got to come in the country and live for at least 6 months before you could go vote. These people who want to run in office, I think, this is my opinion, they should be in the country, live in the country for at least a year and a half to see and to feel what's going on before they could talk about running for office. When you can campaign against the government, say, you only hear, you don't know, you don't have no experience, you don't feel it, you don't hear, you hear it, but you don't feel it, you don't know it. And that is my opinion. But I leave it for there.
Thank you very much.
So I'll talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And yes, on Straight Talk, you are entitled to your opinion. And that sounds reasonable, don't you think, my Straight Talk family? And the quotation for tonight, the search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you, even if at first you don't want to go there. Caller, you're live. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Patrick.
Good evening, sir.
I have a quick question, just for clarification. Are you saying that our country is run by Marxist communists, or are you just making a open statement?
Are you listening to me?
That's why I'm calling to get clarification.
I never said that tonight. So what were you listening to? I know. We have a communist Muslim leader. Are you there? Are you there, caller? Are you close to the equipment? Are you there, caller? Caller, just move away from your equipment, lock it off, and just listen to your telephone. Okay, well, I guess that caller can come back to us if he's not hearing you, caller. But I will say, and I recall saying this before, that our country is led by a communist Muslim leader. He has never denied it, he has never addressed it. We know our leader is a communist and he's a Muslim. Perhaps that's why our country is being run like that. But I would also say that my mission is to get access to the people who matter, the high-level folks, give them access to a microphone and a platform, and we will hear and allow them to debunk the Marxist propaganda in the hemisphere. That's the mission, my mission. Caller, you live.
How are you?
I am peaceful, my dear. Yourself?
I'm giving that every day that I open my eyes.
Okay.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say, you're going to look for the puzzle. See if you find the puzzle first. Quick. We need the puzzle.
The puzzle?
I think it's an English. If you find it, as you got a lot of people, some can stop.
I'm not certain if I understand that. Puzzle, P-O-Z-Z-L-E?
Yes, the puzzle.
Oh, the puzzle. The puzzle. Okay. Okay.
If you find the pieces of people, hurry up, look sharp, time running out and out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You have a pleasant and a blessed night, and be careful.
Yes, I see your dimples now. Okay. Thanks a lot for your intervention. Yes, that lady suggesting that we try to find the puzzle, P-U-Z-Z-L-E, as we know, puzzles have pieces. You have to put that puzzle together. And yes, there's a serious political puzzle dominating St. Kitts and Nevis. But there's also a lot of issues that as well would dominate St. Kitts and Nevis. And the accountability, as I said, would not exist where secrecy prevails and sovereignty becomes meaningless. When our citizens no longer understand who truly controls their national resources and economic future. We think about the OECS. We have been hearing, for example, that the European Union has given the OECS operators of programs, CIP or CBI programs, up to December to dismantle the programs, else they would not enjoy the visa-free status or access to the Schengen area. We have not been able to confirm that. But of great concern to us, my Shredog family, in the OECS region and here in the Federation, ask yourselves, what happens if all those Chinese and Iranians with our passports descend on St. Kitts and Nevis? Patches, people on different talk shows were speculating that there must have been a fallout with you and Dr. Harris based on the statement you made about the politics being corrupt. Would you be so mixed to explain to the listeners and viewers if that's the case? Well, I don't know if I need to explain it. I said, and I have no issues repeating it, that politicians on all sides, hear me, the politicians on all sides are corrupt. And let the politicians speak to that. If the politicians speak to that, then I'll speak further. But politicians on all sides, and all could only mean one thing, all sides, they are corrupt. And I stand by my word, my Straight Dog family. But tonight we are examining the truth. And this email reads, Patches, I am absolutely convinced that PAM will not generate the number of votes they did in the last elections. I'm equally convinced that PLP and NRP will increase their votes substantially, reads this email. This other email reads, Patches, Labour is up to their trickery again. Today they had a meeting with the Peace Boys and offering them lands for houses and farming. The guys asked them, why only now elections are coming up, they come up with that. Lots of letters are going out, say they're going out giving our lands. But people must be mindful that 2 or 3 elections ago, the then Labour government sent out letters say they're distributing lands. But after the election, not a single person got what was promised. They have come with the same gimmicks again, reads this other email. Patches, how can we follow and support the podcast? Again, the podcast will be on Proud American Studios. And it will also be on link on X, beg your pardon, and we also would be on YouTube and on my Facebook page as well. So we'll give you all the information, and there's every reason that you will have or can get access to that podcast. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night to Ian Patrick's neighbor. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Politics. How about thou, sir?
Yeah, man, I'm here just hanging in, just want to listen to straight talk and not abandon us.
No.
Because I believe that straight talk is the one that take us out of the wilderness under the leadership of Dr. Douglas for 20 years. And I believe that straight talk could take us out of the wilderness when we put ourselves with Dr. Joe in this country. Because touches, we're going on here ain't so good. And it ain't looking right. To the people of this country, all kind of fake bribery going on and all kind of thing going on. To the past on government headquarters, drive down government headquarters. And I see people crowding up there. Like something happened, like they had demonstration or something. When I talk up and I ask people what going on, they say that they give card, insurance, the insurance card, medical card. You know, but they could not do it better. They could not do it better patches. They could not do it better down public. The whole sidewalk full of people. You know what I mean? So only should tell you how these people always want to bribe people and give people handout when they're talking about unity used to give handout. You understand? The the 7 years they was in government. I must think only 1 year that they ain't get double salary. Unity give $500 under the under $3,000 a month. The people was working for minimum wage. Patches. Unity do that. And I'm proud of the Unity do. Because a lot of people they were struggling real bad. Look at it now. They're boasting about the $500, the minimum wage gone high sky. Patches cost of living gone high sky too. So the minimum wage to him like you do nothing when you go to the supermarket. The $500 a month and the minimum wage where we used to get. But I believe that will be better for the people because the business place will hire more people that they employ and everything. But these guys just play politics patches. So I just want straight up to just focus on what's going on here in this federation of Nevis. Because patches are so good and you're looking good. You have a wonderful night. Nothing wrong with reporting from the Western Hemisphere to what's going on in the other part of the world. That is good. That is good night again.
Good night, my brother. Always good to hear you. Thank you very much for your intervention. And yes, Straight Talk will be here. Don't worry. Straight Talk will be here. Because Straight Talk has an obligation to inform you, especially with what's happening with our CBI program. Yesterday, was it Tuesday, beg your pardon, I got a call from a high-level official who served in the government and told me about some individuals that were interviewed and held up at the U.S. border on entry to the United States. He gave me the names that were interrogated. And I smiled. And it took me some time to to confirm that he corroborated the information I had. Unfortunately, my Stray Dog family, it's information I cannot release publicly. But that high-level official who spoke with me, I confirm that the information he had was correct. And I can say no more. There are questions about our CIU. And those questions, that's our Citizenship by Investment Unit. And those questions will come up. And it's no secret when I said that I met Philippe Martinez for the first time. And I also stated that I was highly critical of Martinez. And my Stray Dog family, it was really eye-opening when I recognized his high level of contact in the USA with high-level officials as well. So I can say that information will come out. I did say as well that I sat in the interviews with Dean Cain and the Attorney General. I also sat in the interview with Dean Cain and Sebastian Gorka, who is Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Counterterrorism. And I'm saying these things because they are relevant to St. Kitts and Nevis and to the Caribbean period. Because the narco trafficking, the money laundering are issues we don't know when they're going to come to the fore. Because as we understand, investigations take time because different agencies are involved. But as I said, we here in the Caribbean, I am sure that we will at some stage get the facts. But this very important person who contacted me and gave the names of a few persons who were interrogated about the CBI at the point of entry in the US. I can corroborate the facts and the names, but that is all I can say. I really cannot call the names. But my Stray Dog family, I can tell you, the information is with the high officials. But in time, the facts would be revealed. But many are running scared because of the truth to which I am exposed. Having joined the Proud American Studios, many are scared. Some tried to threaten me. But you know, Patches ain't no weak heart. You know me and I know you. But my Straight Talk family, again, no matter what you're saying about motive, I'm always upfront. And I said to you, I recall a time when I harshly criticized Martinez because I thought then he was manipulated by Mark Brantley. And I focused heavily back then on his past transgression, only to find out it dated back some 35 years when he was 20 or 21 years old. But I fell for the propaganda. But now I know the truth. So I must bring the truth. That's the way I'm made up. As Philippe Martinez spoke with me. And as I said, I suddenly recognized that the present and the future are more important than this man's past. The present, today. Because we have to clean up the CBI. And thank God for Martinez. As someone said, he was the Elon Musk of the Caribbean. He exposed all of them. A lot of them. And mark my word, when that information comes to light, you would say you heard it on Straight Talk. Yes, you heard it on Straight Talk. The then CEO of the CIU, my Straight Talk family. What I saw, my Straight Talk family, it is a mistake, a historical blunder that we have made with the then CEO of the CIU, Les Khan, and the Chinese. But my Straight Talk family, then again, that will come to light. But as it always happens, when exposed to the truth, I had either overlooked or misunderstood. And I considered something fundamental. As I said, and I repeat, the present and the future matter more than yesterday. Tomorrow is the future. Yesterday the past. And today is the present. And I can say, I took the deliberate decision to fear not tomorrow. Because I lived yesterday. And I love today. And I decided to shape a legacy for my own children. Also my children's children. And the generations yet unborn. What kind of legacy must I leave for them? And this was a recurring question on my mind. Yes, it was. Yet when exposed to truth, I reconciled within myself that tomorrow represents hope. Yesterday represents lessons. And today is the opportunity to shape our future, shape our destiny. Not like the destiny in Nevis, my Straight Talk family, where one leader in Nevis, Mark Brantley, wants to bring 10,000 or 40,000 persons to Nevis. His deputy said he don't know where they'll come from. Would they come from China as well? Would they? And my Straight Talk family, it makes me reflect that coming from the tragedy of slavery through colonialism into political independence, we now find ourselves confronting what many increasingly describe as recolonization by our own people. And that painful contradiction lingers heavily on the conscience of many Caribbean citizens, my Straight Talk family, many. Our ancestors were taken from Africa in chains, transported across oceans in slave ships, sold to plantation owners and brutalized in the fields while enriching an entire planter class. Yet, in this 21st century, many now observe that a modern version of that same plantocracy still exists. Only the faces and titles have changed. As I said before, they're now called governors or governors general, presidents, prime ministers, political elites, and economic gatekeepers. They are the modern planter class, but they have moved out of the fields. They have diversified our economy into tourism and made our people servants of those who come to enjoy our sun, sand, and sea. And my Straight Talk family, the fields have disappeared, but the structures of control remain. The economy has diversified into tourism, finance, and in the Eastern Caribbean, citizenship by investment, sales of passports. While many of our people have been reduced to servants in their own homeland, catering to foreign wealth while struggling for economic dignity themselves. And yet, many of us became trapped in what scholars call presentism and are consumed by the endless 24/7 social media news cycle, where headlines replace analysis and propaganda replaces understanding. But to truly understand the modern world, we must look beyond personalities and headlines and examine the deeper structures of power, security, finance, production, and knowledge. And my Straight Talk family, we have to promote the truth, because only the truth can set us free. Only the truth. And as we at times fall for the propaganda, In Search of the Unvarnished Truth was just not a thesis title. It is a reflection of the growing sentiment among ordinary people who believe they deserve openness, integrity, and accountability from those who serve them. Today, many are no longer simply debating policies or personalities. They are searching for honesty in public life. They are asking the legitimate questions about decisions made behind closed doors, about the management of public resources, and about whether accountability applies equally, my Straight Talk family, to everyone, regardless of their political affiliation. And the issue is not just merely political. The issue, I dare say, it is moral. A government institution, my Straight Talk family, or leadership that resists transparency, risk weakening public trust and undermining confidence in the very systems to protect democracy and fairness. Silence can be no substitute for answers. And public relations cannot, underline cannot, my Straight Talk family, replace truth. So, as we are on the uphill side of 10 o'clock, I state quite clearly that in every democracy, transparency and accountability are not optional virtues. They are obligations owed to the people. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches Nugget. Patches.
Yes, sir.
And Straight Talk, I was calling and tell you that with the peace program, with unity, was where unity introduced to the crime that was going on in this country. I'll tell you about that. They criticize it, they bring it down to nothing. So unity was giving out the money, giving out money and this and that and that and that. Patches, let me tell you what's going on right now. They criticize it. I hear the email about it just now. And it's true, the email are right. Because a lot of people, a lot of young men and women going on the street, on the program right now, ain't walking away. See them all, Patches, sometimes you see these young men up and down, all these young men up and down, now walk away. But when fight time comes in the bank, and you see them buying drinks, when they don't find money from a boy drink, if somebody wasn't presenting something to them, Patches, I tell you, these people evil. Labour is evil and they will do anything to win the election. The evil, and we got to stop, look and listen in this country, no Patches. People in this country got to stop, look and listen. Because experience on the 20 years with Dr. Douglas and this administration with Dr. Joe, I experienced it for myself. Feel the hardness of the grunt anytime a Labour government in this country, from Dr. Douglas time till Dr. Joe time now. But it ain't easy. And we got to call it out. And other people should come up and straight up and call it out. And the lady right, the lady we're calling, my partner, the lady right, you got to come to the ground and feel the people and vibes are going on in this country. If you're going to do it independent, use me good partner, thank you for your presentation in the neck. And she's right. And the person if I get anything, they'll start come back.
Okay. Thank you, my brother. So, let me repeat what I said earlier, my Straight Talk family. That tomorrow is the future. Yesterday the past, and today is the present. So I fear not tomorrow. Let's fear not tomorrow. Because we all lived yesterday. But let's love today. Let's shape a legacy for our children, our children's children, and the generations yet unborn. What kind of legacy do you want to leave for them? This question you need to answer. And my Straight Talk family, I reconcile my Straight Talk family that tomorrow represents hope, yesterday represents lessons, and today is the opportunity to shape our future. Caller, you're live. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Yeah. Yesterday represents lessons, and today is the opportunity to shape our future. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening.
Hello, my dear. Good evening.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Okay. Not last week. Monday calling, but I get cut off. I was late.
You keep saying you get cut off. Your phone keeps dropping off.
I do not know, Mr. Lloyd, but I do not know. It has just cut off. It has just cut off just like that. Yeah, just like that. It has just cut off.
Each time?
Even if you're talking to anybody, it just cut off just like that.
Okay.
Mr. Lloyd, I have a lot on top of my mind to speak about tonight because since I never get in Monday night fully and I was late, I have a lot on my mind tonight. Think it's not going anywhere. Think it's not going anywhere, Mr. Leiber. The people is crying out. The people is bawling. Poverty is here and us. And then this government here, the first term in office. The first term in office for this government here to have the country in a state, in a mess. But you want to come tell me the Prime Minister and here the people are crying? Eh? I hear him talking something to the talking about how when you go doctor, you got some kind of card and something or the other and something or the other about health and all kind of shit and bullshit and all kind of thing he talking and saying. Eh? I want the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to listen to this man, with he Lloyd them, I want them to listen with he Lloyd them and here come up, I Lloyd tell from the time we ban here tell Lloyd till now. And it's time for he and the cabal them to take up the goddamn bundle and leave government headquarters. Because they cannot run the country and they don't know what they're doing. Eh? Can't living just in Mahaya. The poor people in this country bawling and he ain't listening to the cry. He and the cabal them have pulled the backside the people tax money. Eh? So when you want to come tell me he gonna come back to the same poor people who tell them give another chance to go back in office? I hope and pray tonight that the people must think it a Nevis. Do not put back in the man in there. Otherwise we're gonna get our doom from him. Because he don't know what he's doing a lot of nonsense. We need back Mr. Harris. When Mr. Harris was in there, people could have go down the road and do what they want with the money in the pocket and they still got more money. First time in office, he got the place in a mess, he got the place in a state. Huh? He cannot run a country that is a bit and hell to run a country, A country that easy to run, Mr. Leiber. A country that easy to run is a hard thing to run.
Okay.
A country is a hard thing to run. Look at the post office roof down there in Sandy Point. It well one fix. Huh? The roof are working. What are doing with people tax money? What are doing with people tax money? Everybody about people don't have money, but they bills them now. When we saw everything in the people could have manfully go by the bank, wherever date, and they get that $500, the man come in and stop everything and put on 33% from the goddamn money. He and he cabal them. Eh? So the people going to survive in this country, yeah. and go back again, go out and put him back in office. No time, no when. He not going back in there. The same thing you think, Timothy, or come back with your backside and hand him. You have a wonderful good night, Mr. Loybud. I love you.
I love you more, my dear. Thanks a lot for your intervention. And my Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight's program, we in the Caribbean do not know how many passports have been sold and to what nationalities. But we are extremely concerned in particular with those sold to the Chinese and the Iranians. After selling tens of thousands of passports in St. Kitts and Nevis, we understand they've even sold more in St. Lucia. How many passports sold to Chinese in particular and to the Iranians? But the US knows everything from the Ramada Inn to the prison project. Was the former head of the SKCIU less than protected? That's the question I was asked. The current executive director of the CIU, Calvin St. Joss, is also under scrutiny. But my Straight Talk family, here's a question tonight. If Lescan falls, who else will fall with him? And having joined Proud American Studios, I became privy to data from high-level officials related to money laundering, corruption, narco-trafficking and fraud. And my Straight Talk family, I was approached by a high-level official here in St. Kitts. That informed me of the names of people of St. Kitts that were interrogated by the U.S. in this criminal investigation. But I can't call their names. That's obvious. But I'm sure it will come to light sooner rather than later. Dear Mr. Liebert, reads this email. My name is Thomas Fontaine, political leader of the opposition United Workers' Party in Dominica. We are locked in a battle to bring change to Dominica. I recently listened to your Straight Talk program and would like an opportunity to talk with you. And he's given me his number, a WhatsApp number. Yes, Thompson Fontaine, political leader of the UWP in Dominica. Yes, I will call you. Certainly, I will call you. And let's have a dialogue and trust that you will get that change that Dominica is looking for. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches, good evening, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. I just want to speak general tonight, Patches. It's very heartbreaking, and disappointing to see what's going on in our beloved St. Kitts and Nevis. The degree of corruption is through the roof. One way to get rid of this corruption or to slow it down is to get rid of the crooked, corrupted players. Mm-hmm. Bring in a fresh crop of people and let's try them out and see what they do and how they operate. And if they operate the same way, we kick them out again. But there's some stuff going on over on Nevis Patches. Man, when I listen to that stuff, and we need not ignore it. We need not ignore that destiny project for Nevis because
Once upon a time, I hear when people says, "Oh, down in St. Kitts, they don't have ownership of the lands. They're renting down there." Nevis people got ownership of their lands. But guess what, Patches? By the next election comes up, we will see where Nevis stands with that issue. The people on Nevis are rapidly losing their lands right before our eyes. And Patches, you have to get over there and do some investigation. I've been reliably informed that some lands over there was even owned by the National Bank. And Patches, you won't believe which entity them lands were sold to recently. Patches, you got to get on Nevis and do some investigation and bring that corruption over there to light. At the end of the day, we out here, when our governments don't want to release that information to us, we out here, we're going to get that information regardless. Patches, once again, bro, welcome to the USA, man.
Thank you.
Out here, looking back in, is not looking good. And I personally believe that the status quo cannot remain. The money is only going into certain persons' hands. The poor working class people, they are feeling the squeeze. The money's not getting down to them. The economy's not moving. Patches, all I'm asking, bro, tonight, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis got to get off them party lines. It's messing up the place. And to those two governments that's in right now on both islands, their support is going to have to collapse those two governments. They're going to have to collapse them because at the end of the day, we all will suffer as the consequences fall on us from these bad actors. The way how they're mismanaging the money and all that stuff, we are going to suffer, all of us. I don't care which party you support them. We are losing our lands and we're losing access to our beaches. But if we can't get these bad apples and these bad actors prosecuted from within, guess what? Maybe Uncle Sam will do that from out here. And I'll leave it there, Patches. Thanks a lot. We got to get rid of that corruption. Thanks, Patches, man. You have a good night, bro.
Have a good night. Thanks for your contribution. And as we wrap tonight's programming, my Twitter family, our thesis we looked at, we titled In Search of the Unvarnished Truth. And the search continues. We have gone or are going beyond St. Kitts and Nevis, throughout the Caribbean. And yes, Mr. Fontaine in Dominica, we will contact you. But shortly, I intend as well to join Dean Kane and Philippe Martinez on a trip to Jerusalem to meet high-ranking officials so as to expose the Islamist, Marxist propaganda. The Israeli Mossad and the CIA. These are the people who know about all the money laundering and laundering activities, I should say, coming out of Venezuela. We are on a search for integrity over propaganda. The search for courage over convenience. The search for leaders who serve rather than power. Nations, our Caribbean nations in particular cannot progress where secrecy replaces transparency and where loyalty to power outweighs loyalty to people. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Thank you, Patches. I'll make it real quick. In your meeting with Mr. Martinez, I hope you will witness the list of all the Caribbean leaders who laundered the country's money. I know they cannot touch it right now, but I hope you will bring home that money to your people to make lives better for them. You will be the savior. But I hope you see in the list, and I need you to expose them, call them out. Some who are in election and some who are about to be in the election. I need them to be called out and be known for their crimes, and they free up that money and bring that money back to the country. It is about the money right now, and I hope that you will be able to bring them back. I hope you will be able to restore and make Saint-Kitts great again. Saint-Kitts was great, but because of the deprivement of what we should have on all our people, someone has to do the job. But you will do it with the unvarnished truth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My Straight Talk family, in conclusion, truth may be delayed. Truth may be distorted, but it can never be permanently buried. History ultimately vindicates those who dare to question, to speak, and to stand in defense of integrity. For in the end, truth does not fear scrutiny. Only deception does. We in the Caribbean don't know how many passports have been sold and to which nationalities. The evidence, according to most reliable sources, point to the vast majority, in the tens of thousands, are from China. I have already made a choice between the US and China. It was very easy for me. I don't want a hybrid communism. I won't live under a communist government. Here we have a communist leader who is also a Muslim. But my Straight Talk family, I'm going to leave you with this. That high official who provided me with some names, which I corroborated, who all detained at the border or interviewed at the border in the US on the arrival at border control. But my Straight Talk family, come Friday, let me remind you, Friday at 2 p.m., my interview with Dean Cain will be aired on www.proudamericanstudios.com, also on X and YouTube. My Straight Talk family. It's going to be an interesting interview. Don't you miss it. My first interview, full interview, on proudamericanstudios.com. The truth must come to light. Must come to light, my Straight Talk family. The truth may sometimes be uncomfortable. It may expose hypocrisy, corruption, incompetence, or dangerous compromises. But truth has never been an enemy of democracy. Only deception fears scrutiny. I told you about the team at Proud Americans Studios. Former Homeland Security officers, CIA officers, FBI agents, and former U.S. military officers. In the Western Hemisphere, my mission is to debunk Marxist propaganda and spread the truth about narco-terrorism and money laundering in the Western Hemisphere. Associated with the threats posed by China, Iran, and Hezbollah. This truth, like I said, is sometimes uncomfortable. But my new program, Proud American Studios, called Western Hemisphere, and Proud American Studios, of which I am a team member, has already attracted 12 million views, my Straight Talk family. 12 million.
Dean Cain, welcome back and congratulations. Your podcast, we've talked about the homeland. Over 12 million views last week. People are going on YouTube and everywhere else. Welcome. Congratulations.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. It's been wonderful. We had some great people on, including the Attorney General. We had on Sebastian Gorka. Lee Zeldin was brilliant. It was just so much fun. It was wonderful to see all those eyeballs on there. But to go back to shut your pie hole, I mean, what is every idea of Kamala Harris is bad. Yes. So bad that she has this no bad idea brainstorm so she can put her ideas out there. They're awful. They're terrible. She's saying, she basically is saying that Democrats, we can't win on ideas. So let's change the rules. Yeah. She's a Marxist and Marxism is a cancer. Here's a great bad idea. How about this? We flood the country full of millions of illegals, give them free housing, healthcare, food, phones, money, and you know what? Then maybe they'll vote Democrat.
My Straight Talk family, in closing, I submit. Protecting the Chinese and Lescan was the biggest historical mistake that our various Caribbean governments have made, including the government here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I also submit that the people denied information cannot meaningfully participate in democracy. Accountability cannot exist where secrecy prevails, and sovereignty becomes meaningless when citizens no longer understand who truly controls their national resources and economic future. I therefore join Proud American Studios to continue my efforts to expose the spread of narco-terrorism, Iranian money laundering in the local Caribbean banking system, including Nevis, and geopolitical manipulation through the spread of Marxist propaganda in the Western Hemisphere. My Straight Talk family, the truth you may find uncomfortable because it exposes hypocrisy, corruption, incompetence, or dangerous compromises. But the search continues. As I said, I intend to join Dean Cain and Philippe Martinez on a trip to meet high-ranking officials so as to expose the Islamist Marxist propaganda as well. Israel, Mossad, and the CIA, they know. The search for integrity over propaganda, the search for courage over convenience, the search for leaders who serve people rather than power. Nations cannot progress where secrecy replaces transparency and where loyalty to power outweighs loyalty to the people. Truth may be delayed or resisted, but it cannot be permanently buried. History ultimately vindicates those who dare to question, to speak, and to stand in defense of integrity. For in the end, the truth doesn't fear scrutiny, only deception does. And my quotation for tonight, I'll leave with you. The search for truth takes you where the evidence leads you, even if at first you don't want to go there. We in the Caribbean don't know how many passports have been sold and to which nationalities. The evidence, though, points to the vast majority, and I say evidence from reliable sources, point to the vast majority in the tens of thousands come out of China. And I have already made that choice between the US and China. It was a very easy one for me. The USA is my choice. In the final analysis, I'm always in search of the unvarnished truth. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. As always, I want to thank all those who listened, those who sent emails, all those who viewed my Straight Talk family. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liebert, and God's spare we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. So have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Do your chores. Get some rest. Some may go to the beach. I'm going to the church to praise my Lord, praise my God. But whatever you do, my Straight Talk family, please do it in moderation. And always remember that whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now, I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep, and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on. protects me with his love, strong, pure and true, and so sincere, 'cause my